Okay.
Hello, everybody. We're still a few minutes early. We're going to start. We're just letting people in and disabling the lobby. So welcome. We'll be with you shortly.
Right, I'll be manning the chat today. So if there are any questions or anything like that, please do let me know. Yeah.
Those people who have joined us, welcome. If you can just give us some emojis, thumbs up, smiley face, so that we know you can hear us, see my screen, see Carl and myself. We'll be with you shortly.
Mrs. Crichton, have you been sent the register for today?
Not that I know of. Did you say it was in the email?
No, I was sent it as a message yesterday. So I've just messaged Jonathan. I'm going to message Malcolm as well. Jonathan is typing.
Got yesterday's one.
He says he will email it shortly. Perfect. Okay, cool. I'll get that mail and then I'll drop the link into the chat for everybody. I'll send it around 3:30, and then I'll send it again just before we close at 4:30.
For those people that have joined us, we're just giving everybody a few minutes to rush from class. If you would introduce yourself in the chat, let us know what school you're from. We recognize some names from yesterday. We're so glad you can join us. If you could just let us know what you teach, and it would also be helpful to know if you are I'm sure everybody uses Outlook, so we'll just stick to Teams for today. If you're new to Teams, if you can put a dinosaur, and if you use Teams, use as many stars to how much you use Teams. 1 for a little bit, 2 for quite a bit, and 3 for every day. So if we could just get some idea of how much you know about Teams. We're going to assume everybody knows Outlook, at least an email, because the world runs on that. We hope you will learn things for both platforms, no matter what level you're at. So we're just going to give people another minute or so. You could introduce yourself in the chat, say where you're from, what you teach, and if you use Teams or not, just so we have some idea.
Right, welcome, Batobile. Lovely to see you, Hester, again. Debbie back again. Lovely to see you guys back. Nice to meet you in Bali. Welcome, Ella. Okay, we're filling up nicely. We're up to 22, 24 people now.
We'll give everybody another minute. Just over a minute. We'll start at 2:35.
Welcome back, Koos.
Well, we're going to get started in a minute, just under a minute. So if you'd like to introduce yourself in the chat, if you haven't, tell us how much you use Teams by the number of stars or the sentence, just so we have some idea. We also like knowing where you're from and what you teach. And we hope, and there is definitely something for everybody this afternoon. And as somebody already said, there is always something to learn with Microsoft.
Perfect. I have the register as well, so I'll be posting that in a little bit. Crichton, should we start with introductions?
Yes. So welcome, everybody. This afternoon's session is Outlook and Teams for Teachers. There will be hopefully something for everybody, whether you use Outlook every day or in Teams every day, or you only use them occasionally. If I can find where to change the slide. I'm Lyneth Crichton. I'm the Head of Innovation and Staff Development and a CAT teacher at Brescia House School. I am a Microsoft Innovative Educator Fellow, which just means the program that is run by Microsoft for innovative educators. I've been part of it for a long time, and we hope that you join us this afternoon and start your journey to becoming then it's now called a Microsoft Elevate Educator Expert. I have done my Microsoft Certified Educator exams and passed all the Microsoft Specialist exams. I have a master's in ICT and education and have co-authored CAT textbooks. But my most proud thing is I'm a mom of 2 children. I do have 2 websites, one for teachers, one for teaching CAT, and you're welcome to look at them and connect with me on LinkedIn. It would be great to connect. Mr. V.
Hello. Okay, I am Mr. V, or Kyle. I am a teacher, former HOD of English turned Librasaw. I am the Media and Curriculum Support Specialist here at Brescia House School, and I focus specifically on reading innovation, literacy innovation, and reading intervention. Yeah, and I am a Microsoft Innovative Educator Expert. I am an MCE and an Elevate trainer. I've gone through the Microsoft program. as well as the Microsoft Certified Educator Program. I'm just really an AI and EdTech enthusiast, and I'm also an author. So it's wonderful to see all of you that are back again, and I'm hoping that we have a really great training session.
Yeah, and please connect with both of us on LinkedIn. So just a reminder, you won't be able to, the mics are on mute, you won't be able to unmute them. So pop your questions in the chat as we go. Please, if you've got a question, want to ask something, even if it's in Outlook or Teams that I'm not covering, please pop it there. Carl will either answer it in the chat or we'll answer it live. This session is recorded and the recording will be shared with those people who fill in the attendance register, and Carl will pop that in the chat as we go a couple of times. And then the recording does end up on Dr. D, is it CL Smith's?
CR Smith, isn't it?
Yeah, YouTube channel. So you can catch and go over anything. It would be great if you have access to a different device, or you can pop us in the corner so that you can follow along and try some of the things, or you're welcome to just sit back, drink a coffee and listen, and hopefully you will learn something new that you can try tomorrow or this week. There's something in it for you, and please let us know how you find the training. So this afternoon, the training is going to cover Microsoft Outlook. Then we're going to do Microsoft Teams. And lastly, just after 4 o'clock, for those people who haven't managed to finish yet, if you've been with us before, or those people who are joining us for the first time, we're going to go to the Learn platform and we're going to show you where there's about a Teams lesson module that you could do, and then hopefully you too can all complete your Educator Explorer badge and put it on your signature and start your pathway to becoming a Microsoft Elevate Educator expert. So let's start with Outlook. And these are tips and tricks that I use in my inbox. I'm not using my actual inbox today because then it would show you how many unread emails, which I think lots of people have those. But hopefully these are some ideas and tips that you can use in your own Outlook mailboxes to keep yourself organized. So here's a problem. You write that same email 5 times a week. So every time I want to write a printing request or a parent query or the same thing to my department or the people that are in innovation, you type it out and you think, if I could just go and find yesterday's email and copy and paste it. Well, there's an even simpler way. So we're going to dive right in to Outlook. And I just need to remember where I was going to do this. So I'm going to switch between the two. I just need to get into the right place. Is that we need to use Outlook, and the web Outlook and the internal Outlook are slightly different. So let me just go to the sorry, I just need to, if I keep looking right, it's because I've got a second screen and I just need to open the right place, which I inadvertently closed. Sorry.
Okay,
Just
I just want to do a quick check. Is sound okay for everyone? I see that Andrea is struggling with sound. So I just want to check that if we can just work out that everybody else can hear us. Andrea, my suggestion would be maybe go out and come back in. Just it's the easiest way to kind of reestablish your connection. And then just check that your, and I know this sounds like the silliest option, but just check that your sound is on your laptop. I often have it off, forgetting that.
okay.
Perfect. Let's get cracking.
Okay, Mr. B, I'm going to put my Outlook window on the top here, and can you let me know
I
if you
can
can
see it.
see it? Okay. So we are going to, first of all, we are going to create a template. So what a template is, those people who did Word, is you can actually set up yourself an email that is always there. So if I look at the new email button, if I click on the drop down arrow, instead of writing an email, which pops up, and we're going to circle back to a signature in a minute, is that we can actually use email from templates. Okay, so if I choose email from templates, it says I don't have any templates, so I can say manage templates, which actually gets me to the Outlook settings of Outlook. And then I can add a template, create a new template, and I am going to call it printing. And I just want to open the Word document because it's, well, so I'm going to say printing. So I'm a CAT teacher. So I print practicals and I print theory, and I print them differently. So it's very useful to have two different templates. So I create it, and then it actually brings you up an email box where it looks just like an email. You can put the person that it's to, so you can put your subject line in, and you can write your message. So you can type what you want to say, however you do it. I put in a value, which is the only thing I change. But when I print practicals, I want them back to back in A4 in color, stapled in the left-hand corner. Can you put them in my pigeonhole? Can you have, I hope you have a lovely day. So I save and close template. And you'll see I got printing practical. So I'm going to add another one. And this one, I'm going to call it printing theory. And click on create. And I am going to give it a subject line, paste in my, well, I put it earlier in a Word document just to save time, but you could type in your email. This one I've used my 9 for a different class. These I print in booklets, and I collect, and I can even bold words, and I'm going to collect them from you, and I save that. So now I have 2 templates here. I can always come back and edit them by clicking on edit, and I can throw them away, delete them. And so now when I want to print something, instead of just clicking new email, I click on here and I say email from template, and then I choose which one I want. So printing theory, and there comes my email. If I put the address in, it would have saved it. I can just type in the address and I can attach the document. Now, when I attach documents, I actually, and I'm just going to do this, can you see to my file explorer, Mr. V?
Yes, I can.
So the quickest, easiest way is to click and drag, and you can choose to drop the files. If you drop them, it will automatically attach them. You also can get the option where it says it will just put the link. So especially for my documents that are very big, if I drag them on, I just put a link for the person who needs to print them and show them up. And then I hit send, and off it goes. It saves having to find an email, copy and paste it. You can use it for anything. So if you have a standard email that says, I noticed your learner wasn't at your daughter or son wasn't at school today, you can have those in your templates. I don't think that there's not certainly a limit that I would think the average person would get to the number of templates. Obviously, the more you have, you then have to start looking through. So that's a quick, easy, wonderful way of doing quick emails to save yourself from always doing the same thing. Then the next one, which, is we're going to talk about the signature, because that's another thing that makes life simpler. And hopefully at the end of this afternoon session, you'll have a badge. So the best way I've found to do signatures is to use an image. So all of you being teachers would have access to Canva. It's Carla and my favorite things. So here is a signature. Basically, it's an image that I have made the correct size. So if we go to custom size, so it's 600 pixels by 200 pixels. The reason for that is because think of the times when you open emails on your phone or on a laptop versus a big screen that we're looking at now. You need to accommodate, and if you make your signature too big, then when a person opens your email, it gets very big. So I've found that is a good size. And basically, these are just text boxes and images. This is the badge that we are going to finish off, or everybody's going to do this afternoon. And hopefully you join us. So I arrange it for those people who don't know. If you have Canva Pro, which all teachers are entitled to for free, and your school doesn't need to sign up, you can actually request educator status by putting in your SACE number and your SACE certificate. And there's a couple of other ways, like letters from your school. So you create it. That gives you the option to click on share and download. Talking about things that have changed, Canva's changed its download recently. So here I can choose the image, the size of the image, which is 600 by 200. I can compress it, or I can limit the size. Please just remember that the more badges you have and the bigger your image, it limits what files you can attach to your email. So because these badges are quite small, I can leave it on high. And if I chose compress, it would end up blocky on my email signature. So I'm leaving it on high. I only want this page, and I'm going to download it, and it's going to end up in my downloads folder. So once you have an image, the best and fastest way is to go to email that you've written. I just go, and then we go to insert, and you find, so in other words, I'm on a blank or a new email. So I was on the one that was created by the template, but if I go back to file and say new email, it will show up. So same idea, go to insert, go to signatures. So I have a signature called Lineth, but if I go to signatures, it will now give me the ability of creating another one. The same as for templates, you can have more than one signature. So I can add a signature. Let me just download. So I can download page 2. So now we've got to give it a name. So I'm going to call it Lynette Pick because it's going to have a picture. I always type the kind regards with a comma, so I don't have to type that. I can format this in color. I can put highlighting. I can change the font and the colors of the font, but then I go to insert and I choose pictures and I go down to downloads, which now I've lost, and I select it, and there would be my picture. So if I choose the other one, which has got me in it, now I have a pictured version. I click on save. The first time you do it is, if you remember, to click set as default pictures for new messages and for replies. So I'm going to only do the second one for now, just so I can show you, and I click on save. What it's actually doing is over here, it's changing these boxes. So if you don't tick it, it doesn't matter. So what it means is that if I have a new message, I'm going to new email, I'm going to get the one without my picture. And if I'm replying or forwarding something, I'm going to add the one with my picture. Once again, you can come back and edit them and you can throw them in the dustbin. So if I close this, obviously you're not going to see the new one, but if I reply to this email, it puts the picture in. So it saves me, it's typed kind regards, it's filled it all in, it's put my information at the bottom, and it has whatever links. Images don't generally hyperlink to places. Text will hyperlink. And if you just want to type, that you can also do. You can go insert, go back to signatures, add a signature, and if you don't want a picture, you can simply type it. You could even make it look like you've signed it by changing the font. Changing the size, and then saying save. So if I now change the replies to the text version. Now, if you have an email open, you really just have to delete them. There's no other way around it. You can go to insert and say signature. If I choose another one and I reply, it will put the new signed signature. So that saves you time, especially those quick ones. It always just put, so you can have signatures for, especially when you're replying to a message, you just want to use your first name, or you want to use a formal name, or you want to use an image. And you can use combinations of everything put together. So that is great examples of using a signature and quick parts and using a template. Then the other couple of things that are very important and useful is to use the flags. So if I flag this message, it will automatically show up if I go and look at Microsoft To Do. It will add it in the list of things that I can do. It can also give me, if I right click on it, that I must do it this week, tomorrow, today, and it will show up. And if I click mark it complete, it will tick it off. So I can click on some, I can say this is this week or this is next week. You don't see anything in the flag, but if you go to the to-do list, it will show up in a different date. So if you go, sorry, to my list, which I need to just open to do, but so if you open your to-do list, you will then see your list in the correct dates, which sorry, my version of Outlook on this computer doesn't have to do over there. Mr. V, do you use to-do lists?
Not quite in that regard. What I do use is I use Post-its quite a lot. And I put my Post-its up on my screen and then I cross them off manually, as in my digital Post-it, and then I cross it off manually. So I haven't used the actual digital to-do list, which probably shows that I should.
So sorry, I was just waiting for to-do to open. So the cool thing about to-do is it actually goes across all your different apps, and then like just flagging an email makes you have a task to do. I do love sticky notes though. I do love real sticky notes and the digital kind.
No, I know you use real sticky notes on your computer and laptop.
So anyway, there we go. So this is what.
So we just have had a little comment about that. One of our attendees assumes that we're using Windows 11, which is correct, because Outlook in Windows 10 looks quite different. And I said it was quite a jump for us when we moved between 10 and 11. But I said that the tools should essentially be the same. If you're changing the signature, it should be under settings and then Microsoft email tools and signature, or it will be in the toggle bar at the top, if I remember correctly.
So to-do is simply a planned list of to-dos, and if the tasks will then show up here when you flag them in your emails. And the really nice thing about a to-do list is you can share it with somebody. And I know some of our teachers have shared shopping lists that way. So it's something else to learn, but it's a wonderful thing to keep you organized in Outlook. Just so we can go talking about the different versions, I just wanted to get to, so if we went into Microsoft 365, which is M365, and you go on the waffle, if you go to this version of Outlook, it is, sorry, it's going to ask me to sign in, which is why I just the app. Two-factor authentication. It protects us, but irritates us. So if we use the version of Outlook 365, then it will, if I use it on the web, it does look it also looks different again. Okay, so this is my school email box, and therefore it shows you, and it looks slightly different to the version that I was using on the desktop, and they all have slightly the same. Flags have worked for years. Templates have worked for a very long time, and you'll see this one still has templates over here. The other thing that is very useful is to use rules. So if you look at my mailbox, I have rules. So everything that comes from the accounts department or our order system go into folders. So therefore I can know what is happening. So here is how you set up a rule. Just want to go back to here. Okay, so
There we go. We can
there we
see.
go. So if I have an email from Microsoft and I get them every week, so the only proviso that I just want to explain to you is if you have Outlook on your phone, subfolders only open if and download those messages if you go and click on them. So my suggestion is you do not put a rule on your email from your head because you will probably miss it. Leave that one in your inbox. But if you've got emails that it doesn't matter when you read them, I've also learned over time to go and click the subfolders on my phone, but you can use as many rules as you like, and there's lots of options. But the best way I find is if I have an email from Microsoft and I want to move it into my Microsoft folder, the best way to do it is to right click on the email and then go, which I can't see, down to, sorry, now this is where things that don't work. Why can't I? I'm just going to, sorry, this is because I've got about 4 different mailboxes and I'm trying to hop between them to show you the different ones. So let me just go back here. Sorry, Mr. V.
That's okay.
It won't let me. So let me just do it from here. Okay, so these are emails. So maybe I want a folder that every time I get an email from a certain person, I can put them in a folder. So what I do is under inbox, I create, by clicking the 3 dots to the right, I say create a new subfolder, and I'm going to just call it IT. And then I click on the email that I want, and I say to create a rule, which is over here, and I say create a rule. So it says always move the messages from Ryan to a folder, and I can simply go and find the folder that I created. So I can say select a different folder, go and choose IT. And if I say move, I'm going to not say move, it will ask me to run it, but we'll come back to that. There are far more options, which are also found under settings for rules. So I can call it whatever I like, but the conditions can be 2. So in other words, it's sent to me or it's copied to me, or either. If I'm the only recipient, if I'm mentioned in the message, so in other words, they used at, if there's a subject line, if there's keywords in the message itself, if it's important, if it's got a flag. So there's a whole lot of things, and I can literally put the conditions in, and the actions can be pinned to the top, permanently delete it, mark it as junk, mark it with importance, categorize, put a flag in, take a flag out, forward it to, so I can forward it to, for example, every time Ryan emails me, I can send it directly to Carl. So in this case, I want to move it to the folder. So I'm just doing the same thing in a different, and I say move, and then it says stop processing more rules. That just means when you've found this rule, and it does work in hierarchical order, it would stop and do anything, or you can add another action. And if I say run the rule now, it would look for all emails from Ryan, and it would put, so here are all my rules, and the order makes a difference. So if I choose it, and I can obviously delete them, edit them, switch them off and switch them on, but it will then put the email that we were looking, all the emails from Ryan, no matter where I've chose it, into one folder, and as fast as that. So those are very useful, especially when things like we have emails from an order system that you just need to keep, you don't need to read. So it puts them in there. I actually can make it flag them as read as they come in. Mr. V, do you use rules?
So I did have rules set up initially. I haven't used them in a while, but I used to have them set up especially for grade 12 notifications and things like that. So stuff that was really important, especially where stuff that came from Jackie, our head of academics, I would have those rules set in. But I haven't done that in a while, actually, since I've moved out of more academic teaching.
So I don't know if anybody has popped anything in the chat about emails, but
There is one question. What does it mean when you categorize?
So, okay, that's a good thing, and it'll lead us on to Teams. So, I mean, onto calendar. So basically, if I right-click on here and I choose categories, there's a whole lot of colors, okay? This is not in my school mailbox. I do have already set up, but I can manage the categories. So if I edit the blue category and I say Carl, or let's just put innovation emails. So I have that in my calendar. So I can make this a purpley color, which means that if I look for all the messages, I can categorize it as innovation, which means that you can search on a category. So if I then look for the category of, for purple, I can actually find, and you can see it says innovation versus purple category. You can actually have more than one category. So if you can see there, I've got purple and innovation. I can put the categories onto the emails so that I can find them easily. So if I click on yellow, it would find me all the yellow messages, which wasn't a good option. But I can change this to a purple, and I can find all the messages that are flagged with purple category. So that's what categorize means. And you're going to see now when we talk about a calendar that I do that an awful lot in my calendar. So it's a good thing to pop on over to the calendar. This is in the online version. They are slightly different. So it shows me the default calendar when you add an item. So let's add a new event, call innovation meeting. Whoa. Okay, I can choose a time. So let's make it tomorrow. And I can save it. It's going to show up tomorrow at 3:30. So now if I right click this and I categorize it, can you see I've got the same categories as before? So there's my innovation. So I can tag it as innovation, and my actual meeting will change colors. Okay. In here, in this barber pole version, dotted line means I have a meeting that I haven't yet accepted. It's one of the new features of Outlook. is if I decline this, which the lady will then think I don't want to be there, but if I decline this meeting, it would stay in my calendar, but it goes white. So that, and you can choose to have it there or not, so that you know you were invited to a meeting that was you chose to decline or not. So if we go through, it's really cool. So you can have different colors. And the other option is, so I make school colors for notes for me, like it's opening, I put it in this blue color. And then I actually have our school timetabling system allows us to, it publishes a calendar, which is a web cal, but so does your Gmail, so does quite a few of them. So if I click this one, I have an extra color that's an extra calendar. There are all my lessons. So I can tick it and it would come on and show up in my calendar. And if they're not added to my calendar for the first week of school is blank. Well, not really. If you look and tick it in, now I've got the second part around, and these I've automatically colored and put the little hat on. And the way to add a calendar is to click on add calendar, and then you could add a person's calendar from, but the one that, like if you want to put your own Gmail, you could click on subscribe from the web. Your Gmail will give you a web cal, it's called a web calendar, and then you paste it in. I think I've lost my calendar. Just sorry. Let's just go back to the right window. I think I closed it. I'm just going to put a random thing link in. So you give it a name, you give it a color and a charm, and you say where to add it. And when you import it, a web cal has the ability to completely keep updating. So on my own calendar, our family have a family calendar that we can all see, so I can overlay it on the top. There are more than one way to see it. Sorry, I just want to go back here. If we look at this calendar, so I prefer them one on top of each other, but you can have split view, which means that they're on the different spaces. If you're in a school like we do, we have different calendars, which has all the events for the school, and I can put them, overlay them or put them side by side so that I can see what is happening, including the South African holidays, which I've imported into my Outlook. I know, Mr. V, I know you have more than one calendar open because your venue is a venue that people can book.
Indeed, and it's quite confusing a lot of the time to see what is what and where it has been booked. So I find the color coding is really helpful as well.
So, and then we're going to, now this is it going to be a little bit tricky because I need to get back to the right window. So we're just going to hop over for Teams for a minute. And I just want to show you, so those people who haven't been in Teams in a while, so Teams now has the same color coding options. So if you right click on an appointment, you can, same color codes work. It's the same colors, the same Outlook. It has the ability to get rid of, to have just a work week versus a whole week versus a month. It has the ability to change the time scales, the dates. They really have spent a lot. So if I go to Carl, yeah, I also have the split view. It just and I can hide the navigation bar on the left, and then I can see Carl's calendar and myself, and we can show it. And you see, I color coded mine, and it has join, but it doesn't color code his. So it's really your space, your and what you want to do. So you can set up those categories by just going to manage categories in Outlook, because it's really using the same categories here. So before we move on, were there any more Outlook questions before I carry on with planning a meeting?
Nope.
Okie dokie. So for me, if I'm setting up a meeting that has anything to do with online, yes, in Outlook, if you click and you go to Outlook and you go to your calendar, it's got 27 things open here, and I say new event, I can make it an online event. Okay, I can switch a Teams meeting on, but I find that it has far less settings than if you do it in Teams. So if you want a Teams meeting of any description, the best place to do it is in Teams. So if you go to the calendar in Teams and I want to make a meeting with Carl for tomorrow at 12 o'clock, the best way is to just double click in 12 o'clock, put in my title, type in Carl's name, okay, choose the time, and nowadays it gives you a whole lot of options, and it even has that Copilot will reschedule. This is where you switch on a Teams meeting, and I can put in an agenda or something, then he can write with. You can format it. You can make it into a series. So if Carl and I wanted to meet every Wednesday, I could change it from an event to a series. And I can go and say, I want to meet every Wednesday at 5 to 5:30. As long as there's wine, Mr. V, 5 to 5:30.
As long as there's wine. Perfect.
As long as there's wine, yeah. And but I could actually have it 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That sounds even better. And I can go all the way to February 2027, but let's just go back a bit and only get to the end of October. It's going to repeat every 1 week, or I could say every second week. Okay, obviously it's going to repeat Monday, Wednesday, Friday every second week or every week. So let's go for every second week, 3 times a week. That sounds good. Okay, you're 100% available. These are some of the new funky things that they've come up with. If I clicked on scheduler, which it would actually give me the ability to look at people who I've invited. If what they've shared with me, I can see whether it's open or not in their calendar. And then I send them in the message, and every second week. So I started on a Wednesday, so it's Wednesday, Friday. The following week, you can have a week off, and then it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and so on. It's pretty cool. So those are repeated meetings, and if I double click on them, each one will now have the Teams meeting requests link in it and meeting ID. But I also obviously can join it, and nowadays you can have a chat with your meeting. But any of the other options which are in Teams, which is a whole training in its own, happen by clicking where I just used the double click in a place. If you've gone to new, it would have given you the same option as I did. But if you drop down, you have different options depending on your license for your organization. But a webinar gives you the wonderful option of people registering to attend, and then they get the reminders in their mailboxes of attending. Those, and we're going to go back to, we're going to carry on in Teams, but all the time we were in COVID, and I saw somebody wrote something about COVID, we would have killed for a channel meeting. And now they're there, but we don't really do channel meetings anymore. But that's because Microsoft and Teams is always evolving. So a town hall, basically these options here are much like we're in now. It's the automatic setting up of whether attendees are allowed to chat, whether Q&A is switched on, whether you have a registration page or not, whether people can switch cameras on, chat, whether the organizers can switch them off. And obviously live event is supposed to be the biggest one. It's a bit more like a broadcast. So is a town hall, whereas a webinar is just the step after a Teams meeting.
Okay, and so we've got 2 hands raised, Miss Crichton. Sorry, I thought you were having a pause there.
Well, I was going to just say, if they would like to, I don't think they can put their mics on, but I just was going to say, and the last one, which Carl and I use often, is the Meet Now. Even if it's just to record yourself doing something, you can start a meeting with yourself or start a meeting and then phone in the other person. So let me go there.
Okay, so the first question is, why do some of my calendars say only on this computer? And how can I sync these calendars across my device?
I would suspect you've somehow created a local calendar instead of a calendar in the, and it could be a legacy calendar. Sorry, I'm thinking as I go. I'm not sure if you can change one. The option I once done when I ended up with a weird calendar is I've exported my calendar entries and then I've created a new one, checked that it's synced, and then imported those calendar entries back to not have to do them all again. I was going to say, it kind of sounds like it's a legacy calendar from sitting on a device, and I don't know if there's a way to say sync. There is a way to export and import though.
Yeah, so I've just posted a little help file there. Essentially, you'd have to move the Open Outlets calendar view, select this local computer only calendar, and drag and drop your appointments into a calendar listed under your Cloud Connect Microsoft 365 Outlook option. I'm not sure that's going to help. I did ask it to explain it to me a little bit easier, but it does sound like you are correct in the idea of it being a local calendar situation.
So I know that if you go to a calendar and you click, you should be able to, if you go to the file settings, you should be able to change and export all the settings to and then import it into a calendar. So if I went and added a calendar, you know, I can create a blank calendar. You should be able to create a blank calendar and then import into it. And while you ask the other question or see if the other question's there, I'm just going to find why I can't simply right click and export anymore. I know it's in settings. Mr. V, do you have the second question or not yet?
Yes, I do. I've got a hand raised by Malasiba. I just want to see if I can enable your microphone. Just give me a second. I think I have to enable everyone's mics, and then let me just go to controls. Okay, I should have given you the ability to unmute yourself right now, Malasiba, so you can ask your question. No. Maybe she raised the hand by accident.
Yeah, there is definitely, while we wait to see if she come off mute. Otherwise, just type your question in the chat, even if we move
Yeah.
on. There's definitely a way to export your
Oh, there we go.
Yep.
I just saw her video come on.
Okie dokie.
Melissa, have you got a question for us? Okay. No, she's taken the raise the hand down. Maybe it was an accident.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so just before, so we're going to carry on. We were in Teams, but it overlaps the calendar of Teams. We're now going to go into actual Teams, one place instead of 1,000 emails. So Carl and I are lucky enough to work for a school that we use, certainly in our part of the school, we hardly get emails anymore because we post everything in Microsoft Teams. So though today I'm going to stick mostly from an admin staff point of view of what I'm going to show you a couple of things of what it looks like if you use the same principles for students. But in our school, all our girls have devices and they actually log on to Teams, and all our classes have Teams. So why do we use Teams instead of emails? Because at the end of the day, everybody can see what everybody replies instead of 15 emails, as people say, one, and reply, or they forget to say reply all. So please just remember the difference between to and CC and BCC is, I should have explained that for a minute. Let me just go back there. So if you were looking at an email, the two-part is supposed to be traditionally who the email is addressed to. So I'm going to send it to Carl just because I can. And the CC means that I want to tell somebody what, in other words, it's for their information. In Outlook, this BCC means that if I put Kevin, and I'm going to just show you a trick, click and drag, in BCC, it means Carl won't know that I told Kevin or copied Kevin in the email. It's blind carbon copy versus to. Okay, so those are the difference. It's the same as the difference between reply all versus reply to one person. So what do I mean by that? Well, at the top of an email, if I clicked on reply, it would go back to the person who sent it to me. If I say reply all, it will go to anybody who was in the to or the CC of the email, and obviously forward makes a copy of the email and it sends it to a new address. It makes the new email. It pops up like that. The other thing that you'll see in an email that I just lost is that if you're all on 365, you can put an emoji now. So instead of replying to everybody's emails, I'm just looking for one from you, Mr. V. So if he sent me this email, just need to pop it out. Okay, at the top here, if I just put an emoji, he would get that emoji on his side. I don't even have to reply. Okay, so that's a pretty cool thing. It only works internally in 365, but it's great. You can thumbs up so the person knows, and they will get a notification at the top of their email. so that it's been thumbs up. So that's another quick way of replying. But in Outlook now, they have this share to Teams button because they're trying to move people off Outlook into a platform where the messages are for everybody. So here is Teams. When we get back to Teams, here is Teams. Okay, so we went through the calendar, but the actual, yes, there are icons on the side. I have a direct link to OneDrive from Teams, which is the OneDrive folder. Copilot, which if you've got a school account will be switched on at this level here. In our school, we actually can phone out external numbers, but the calls is really to just find somebody. So if it's in the same team, so I can type Carl's name and it could look for Carl, and then it actually just calls his teams, like doing a meet now. But then the most powerful part of Teams is a team. So what is a team? So I've got a couple here. They are, in essence, two different types of teams. The one has far more functionality. That's a class, and we usually use it for students because it has it switched on. Just so you know, you get two different views of this screen. So if yours didn't look the same, you click on the three dots. Yours is probably initials. Next to your initials, your image, if you put it in, you go to settings, you go to appearance, no, general. They always move this one. Main window, new window. Why can't I find grid? Yeah. It's me, they did it to me again. Here we go. It's under chats and channels now. Chats and channels layout. Okay, so grid versus list. So I'm going to just change it to the list and then go back into Teams. If I go back to Teams, now I have a list like this. So it shows you my 3 teams and the list of channels underneath each team. And I'm going to explain a channel now, but I personally prefer the grid view because when we go into a team, you'll see the difference. So let's start in a staff team. So this is what is a traditional team. If you're in corporate, this is the only kind of teams you would get. You can only get class teams if you have an educational license. If you click on them, I've set this up with a whole lot of channels. So the idea of a channel, or the idea of a team, it's almost like a file. A file of, and these are kind of like file dividers. So in other words, we're trying to keep all the stuff that is the same together. Now, by default, team channels will be sorted alphabetically if you look at the bottom ones, okay? So the best way to do it is to renumber the channels so that you always have what you want at the top, and in whatever order you like. So this one has academic, 2026 posts, a staff meeting and rosters, an academic committee. The ones with the little padlocks are what we call private channels. In other words, if I've invited Mr. V, he would open his, he can only see the innovation team one. He cannot see any of these other private channels because he's not invited to it. We in our school do it that way because all the teachers of grade 10 belong to a channel, so that all that information about grade 10 sits there. It just stops cluttering. Also, if you notice, and those people who've been in teams before, there's no general channel. So you can rename a general channel now. You couldn't originally. So we don't use the general channel because the idea being So Microsoft's idea about a team is a team exists while it needs to exist. And when you've finished with it, you're supposed to delete it. Now, in a school, that doesn't really work because we don't delete things every year and start again. So at our school, we have channels that get deleted, like these ones. So at the end of this year, it would be archived or deleted because now there's would be grade 10s for 2027, and we would have a new channel with a new group of people. So if we pretended it was 2027, we would click on the three dots, we would say add a channel, we would call grade 10 teachers 2027. As I said, this is a private channel. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to choose it to private, which means only people that I personally invite, being the creator of that channel, would be able to see it. So I click on create. It's automatically going to ask me who do I want to add. The only trick about adding somebody is the person has to still originally belong to the team. So I click on Carl and I add him, which means he's going to get in this staff team, he's suddenly going to get a grade 10 teachers 2027. So everything about the grade 10s of that year we keep together, absentees, parents' emails. There is a file section, so we can share files that are specific to that grade. It's like if you before had a shared folder or a file on your shelf and you put all the information for grade 10 of that year. We don't, so 2026, so here's an example of a post that we have weekly posts in our normal staff team, and they literally this long. Now imagine if everybody's posting in 2026 and the head of sports posts, the person who's in charge of planning posts, the person who's in charge of culture posts, the academic head posts. There's so many posts that you think you could lose, and you will always be scrolling. So that's the reason why we have different channels. So we only put staff meeting and rosters, which look like this, in this channel. So if you want to go find the latest staff meeting and rosters post, you know to go to that channel and it will pop up and it will be there. This post has a document attached to it. This channel, like the other one, has its own shared folders place, and I can create folders by clicking on the down arrow and saying, giving it a title. I can give it a color. I can create it. If I add something to a post, like this document was added, it's automatically just going to be put in this file and it will not be sorted. I would have to, at the end of the year, we do that, we move out all the files. So it's really nice to color code them, to put them in, and people can find the information. At the end of 2026, we actually take the number away, we keep it for longer, and we would therefore create a new channel. So I would go add channel. I'm going to call it 2027 posts. Sorry, we're not in, just so we understand, we're not in our school, actual school team. This is just a mock team, because otherwise everybody would be very confused at this point. But this one would just be a standard channel so that everybody has access. And this little button is very important when you create a channel. So many people don't tick it, but that means it's going to pop up on a person's list. If you don't tick it, I'm going to show you what happens to it. So I ticked it, it's going to create the channel. If you don't tick it, and I'm going to do it on the magazine one, I'm going to click the three dots and I'm going to say hide. And I'm going to hide innovation and hide. This is where the default, if you don't create the team, the channel, this is where they end up. and then nobody knows it exists because they don't click on this little hidden channels button and open it. So for me, it's very important. If you're creating a channel and you want people to know about it, tick the box that says recommend. It doesn't pop up and recommend anything. It really just puts the information, it shows it up in the top part. Okay. How do we know that something's been posted? Well, the bell gets a little red thing with the number 1, and if I click on it, it will show up. Now we're in this part where chats and everything will show up in my activity log. And the way to do that is, and I'm going to show you with a post that I put in earlier. So if I go to a post, you can see that this post has gone blue, which says staff team. Mr. V, can
Yes.
can you just post a post in 2026 and at the staff team? Because
Sure.
I won't get a red dot if I do it.
That's
So
cool. Let me
while
just go
he
into
does
my
that, I just
business
want to
here.
show you is that if we post a post, so let's go to 2027.
You said in the academic one, hey?
Yeah, it doesn't. If you add the academic channel, it will also show up.
Perfect.
So while you do that, I'm just going to show them what I mean. So if I go to 2026 and I say post in the channel, this is a standard message. If I choose announcement, I get a really cool banner where I can upload an image. Okay. I have a school called Crichton Academy now. Not true. I can say, welcome to the new term. Sorry, we know you're deep in the thick of term 3. We're on holiday. So welcome back. Enjoy coffee and a donut at break with us to celebrate being back. Okay, so if I just send this, okay, it's not using what I mean by at. So if I put at, I can choose a person. So it's thinking that I always message Carl, so it's put his name there. But if I use the name of the posts of the channel 2026 or the name of the team, so if I do staff, I can choose the staff team, which means everybody will get a notification. And while we were doing that, Carl posted something in academic. Can you see it went black? And you can see my activity bell has 1 red. So I post this. Before I post it, I just want to show you one more thing. If I click on the actions buttons, I can set the delivery options and I can make it important. Okay. I can also schedule a message. So in other words, I could, if school is starting tomorrow, I could schedule this message by clicking on it and saying that it must only be delivered or pop up for everybody tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And then it will sit there, but Carl wouldn't see it. But the other nice feature, which I use often, is to post in other channels. So if I click on this and I say multiple channels, I can say I also want it in the in the staff meetings and rosters and in the academic channel, which says update. Nothing here changes except at the top, but when I click post, it's going to, if I go in the academic channel, or let me go to 20 staff meetings and rosters, There is my post, my new post. It's got a funny little chain on the top. It tells me where it is posted. And if I go back to academic, because it's still black because Carl posted something there, I click on it. There's my post, and there is Carl's post. Okay, he added the channel, which means it was the channel of people, and the people who belong to this channel would have got a message. And because it's not a private channel, it would be everybody. If you do the same thing in this private channel, it's only the people that who belong to the channel that get notified. Then here is mine with the staff team, and it's the same idea. Is it added? For those people who might not have known, you can do the same thing in an email. If you have an email, you can put, so let me just use this email. If I forward it and I forward it to Kevin, I can say, if I put at, it will choose the person's name. That means they will get a notification as well as the email. So often, if I put at Carl, now I never wrote Carl's name here. Can you see, as soon as I added it, it adds him to me. So if I use the at in the email, it automatically puts the person also needs to get a copy of the email because I'm talking about him. Okay, so it's really important to at, because at makes the activity stand out. The other feature that I love, which works more for children, and let's just hop over to the children's channel. So we have a rule of thumb in our school, because all our classes have teams, is we always start with the number. So if I manage this team, and I go to settings, my team name should just be the number, because me as the teacher teach across multiple grades, but if you're in grade 7 or grade 10 or grade 12, all your teams start with 7 or 10 or 12. So you know what grade you're in. And the second part is obviously the name. And the other thing that we do is we like having unique pictures, because when you are a learner and an adult, it's much easier to identify something from the pictures. So if we click on the picture, sorry, let me just close. So under the 3 dots next to the team name, manage team settings, I can change the picture. My picture was made by AI, and I can save it. And if I now go back to the teams, it looks much nicer. So there's Carl and my team, the staff team. Now, if you're looking at it, which is also why I prefer the grid view, and I just want to get to the place so I can show you. So this is the web version, not the app version. So I'm just waiting for it to open. Because if I look at my school one, so here is my school one, you can see how many teams that I belong to. So it's much easier to have pretty pictures than just blocks, because then I know what and what things are for, and my team and a Mark's team and the one that is the staff. So that makes it very useful. The big difference between a class team you see more often if you use the grid view, there is that it has a notebook attached, which is OneNote. It has the ability for classwork. So those people who want to post, like what you have to do with links, it has that. It has assignments where you can get children to hand in documents, and you would know when they turn it in. and you can even give back marks. You can look at grades, you can use insights, and you can use reflect, which I'm just going to go to my grade 10 one. So I use mostly a connection of just an announcement. So there my general team has been, channel has been named announcements. Instead of a number, I used a little emoji. And here we have a teachers only channel because I teach with, if I teach with Kyle, him and I can share in this space, but, and then the children wouldn't see what we were doing. I have, I can post, the children can reply. So if I go back to my grade 7 digital skills team, this is my actual digital skills team where I post their information, their links. I use assignments. The teacher and I share a space. Everything that is links. I didn't use any announcements here. I can go to assignments. So here is, we made them hand something in. So if we go to ready to grade, they had to hand in their certificate. So here we can see the list of all the people and whether they turned it in, whether they just viewed it, whether they turned it in late. And if I was marking it, I could click on it and I could see and then give them feedback and say, you never sent it back. It's quick overview because this whole of Teams and using it if you use children is quite an in-depth thing. Mr. V, any other
Yes.
fun things that you really like about Teams that I haven't added in my quick overview?
No, I just, for me, it's really just the shared network, the idea of being able to share files and actually copy and paste them directly into the messages as well. So those sort of like cool hacks of copying the file and there it is right at your fingertips when you've posted a message to kids and things like that. So with me, obviously, I do a lot of the grade 9 book stuff. So like I'll put the PDFs and I'll put the links and I'll put everything all in the messages and they're able to access them directly from the message, and it automatically saves it in the shared files. So that's my kind of favorite part of Teams in that regard.
And it seems back to front, but I just want to show people. So when you create a team, so you click on join or create a team, the best thing to do is to create. The staff team that I used was the staff, well, actually all these 3 are all identical. In other words, it only uses, it'll have a general channel and not all the extras. And this one has assignments, reflect, and those kind of things. So I click on it. It says it wants a channel. I call it 10. Let's do your class, Mr. V. 10 drama. I click on create. It's going to ask me after it's created it. Whoops. It's going to ask me, which I just lost. It's going to ask me who I want to add. I think I closed it now. Got so many windows open that I don't even know which way I'm going. Let's just go there. Nope. Teams. It doesn't help that we're in a Teams call. Okay, so it would have asked me straight away, which it is somewhere behind, but I closed it. So if I now add people, I go to 3 dots. The fastest way to do it is to go to manage the team, go to settings, and this is how we do it at our school, is we go down to team code, and then we say generate. Now, you can't join it because you're not in the same organization, but I literally do this, and then I wait for the 30 children in front of me to join my team. I don't add their names one by one. I would, for example, go to members, and I would add Carl, for example, and the default when you add a person is actually makes them a member. So in other words, what a student would be. So if we look at, what happened to Mr. V?
I think I'm still there.
Yeah, it's got to, you got to
just
wait,
did the
load the
guess. There we
page
go.
again.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is Mr. V. So it would be like having a student in my class. And if I want to promote him to a teacher, I change him to owner. Now he has just as many rights as me. And it's very important for teachers to have those rights. In a staff team, you can then go and make the settings. You can choose whether the person can create channels, members, so that, remember, this way Carl can create channels and remove apps and all that, but the children who are in essence going to be the members can't do that. So that is, and then they would take that code, and they would take that code, that MJ code, and they would say join a team, and they would simply type the team in there and click add to team. Okay. If you make a public team, what happens is it puts them in this list, which you don't really want to do in an organization full of students, because they'll just join your team.
Yeah.
Any questions, Mr. V?
No questions, but can I share my screen so I can just show a little bit about what I was talking about in terms of the links and things like that. So let me share mine, and I can show.
Well, I close 101 windows.
I did think that would assist. So this is my my projects and updates link. This is part of my Wonderful World of Trees project, where I basically get 148 kids to publish books together. It's a legacy project that we run with our grade 9s and our grade 5s working together. And this is the sort of notification page that I run with all the information for all our students. They all have access to this. They've been added to the team. We make use of loops, which is a very cool tool as well in the within a team. So if I need them to fill out a document, or I need them to update a list of their names and things, I can create a loop, and then they can work on that live and add to it. And then one of my favorite things to do, because I especially know what grade 9s and grade 5s are like, I like to make sure that I've included all the information. So I tell them where they need to be. I tell them what the goal is for what they're doing, because it's quite a big project, and they're generally with me for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And then I also include the instructions of like bring your laptop, but it's the resource links that I find the most handy, because if they need to be able to access the Canva templates that we use, or they need to be able to have a look at the learning sequence that they're on, so the original list of links, or any of the PDF documents, I simply just copy and paste the file into my message from my shared folder, and then all the information that they need appears there as well. So this was the last one that I sent them. This was what we wrapped up last term, and then as you can see, there's quite a lot of sort of information, and so as you can see, I tend to bold a lot of my stuff. So especially when it comes to headings and things like that, and then placing the links. So I just make it a little bit more interactive, but more importantly, it's just there so that I know that all the links are there. So when I'm walking around, I can go to each of their computers and I'm like, right, go back to your message. There's the link. Go click on that file, and I can update them and edit them as I need to. So yeah, that's one of my favorite things. I don't know, Ms. Crichton, if you were going to show loops today.
Well, before you just show them, I just want to point out, so you've got it in list view, which means it's down the left.
Yes.
And
It's
if
the
they
grid
look
view.
along the top where it says post shared page, then that's where the classwork notebook grades reflects. Because if you because you're using a class team, not
Yes.
not one of those club teams or
PD
staff
teams or staff
divisions.
teams, yeah.
So I don't know. We love loops in our school because we love teams. If you just want to click on post in a channel and
Sure. Let's
and
quickly
just show
post in
them
the
where you
channel.
find add a loop.
Okay, so essentially, if I'm about to send a message, obviously I wouldn't send this message out now because it's a live message, so it would go to all my students' computers. And we all know that they are very diligent during the holidays and their laptops are probably on and ready and waiting for Mr. V to send them a message. But I click this little button here, and this is the button that gives me the loop function. So in my message, I would and then you can see the different names that pop up. So in this case, it would be Wonderful World of Trees. So there would be my pop-up document, I mean, my atting there. I would say then please fill this out.
Just while you're typing, the concept of a loop, anybody who's worked in Teams, is a Teams message you can type and you can reply. But a loop gives you within the message the ability for the people reading the message to add information into the message. So you can use a table, you can use a bulleted list, you can assign things. So they don't click 100 replies. So we don't have to sort, he doesn't say reply to me with your link. He can just say, fill in your group name and paste your link. And the table will keep growing, but it's one post. So they're wonderful. We use them lots as teachers when we're getting feedback, because you just write your teacher name and whatever the feedback is, because it's all in one message. And then the person who created it actually can export that to Excel or copy and paste it into a Word document. It's the same actually if you send it via email. It
Yes.
updates live. So as people are filling it in, you will see.
You'll see the information. So in this case, this is actually a loop that I will send in the beginning of term. What I essentially require them to do is they need to, you can see I've got their names, their group names all on the side here, which is we're running private channels with each of the groups. And that's their progress in terms of their books. But they would then need to paste this group name. So it would be Blue Panthers. And then they would need to send me the link that they have uploaded their book to our Dear World website, so that I know that their book has been uploaded. And then I would probably add another column onto here that says click yes or type yes if they've uploaded or still uploading, that kind of thing. And that's a way that I can then, when I've got them all in the session and we're uploading their books, I can check that. And then I also have a link to that folder as well. Yeah, so that's pretty much, and we do this often in live. It's really quick. It's just one of those ways to be working and getting live information updated, yeah, immediately.
So Mr. V, when you I'm going to share back, but I'm going to do it onto the channel that we can both type into.
Perfect.
I just need to rewrite, rechange some screens, share.
Do you want me to, are you sharing? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Don't think I should, did I? Can you see my screen? I think
yes,
I shared
you can.
the wrong
Elevate,
one.
Educate,
Wrong one.
Explorer AI.
Wrong one. Wrong one. Okay, that's the next step. Why? Yeah. No. Confused. The little picture is the wrong one when I share it. It uses the wrong one. Okay, it should be up now, the right
one. Okay.
Okay.
Trainings.
So training, please add your link. So click on Loopcar. Just by the way, Carl's is black because he likes dark mode. Mine is white because I like light mode. Okay. Add your info. Okay. And then I can put a table and I can put name and link. Now I have to post it because he can't see it until I post it. But we can actually not see his screen, but Carl will be able to type into the post. It's in the Your and My Trainings team, our space.
Perfect. I was just posting the links for our next thing. So let's go into posts 26.
You could post them
Let's
into
go
the
into
links
my
place.
activity. Made you're an owner, added to drama 10. Okay, so it's in the trainings you said, hey?
Yeah.
Right, staff, trainings, our space, open it. There's the loop.
So you could paste those same links in the link. Look, I've got a little icon that says he's opened this page. I've got little dots that are doing it. I can see he's typing, and it literally is live.
And Control C, here is the link, Control V, and there we go.
And obviously, if this isn't a whole staff or a whole grade of kids or a whole class, you would actually simultaneously do it. And they can see what anybody's doing. So there's no typing over anybody else because they can see that there's another row and that they can create their own. And that like leads us right perfectly to learn.microsoft.com. Please, if you've got any questions, please pop them in the chat. Those people who have done the other two with us, we do hope you'll stay and finish your badge. Share whether you've got your badge. We're going to hop into Microsoft Learn now, and hopefully in the next half an hour, 20 minutes, you'll have a badge. So we're going to motor through Microsoft Learn. So the Microsoft Learn platform. Yep.
I have posted the links so you can see the different links that you need. So the Learn platform is what Lynn is going to show you now. And then we've got the Explorer paths as well. Please, just before we start, we'd really like you guys to come along this journey with us and fill out your badges. And then at the end, once you've completed your badge and completed the assessment, please can you just drop a star in the chat so that we know how many people have actually completed their badges today, just for us, so that we have an understanding of how we've done.
And if you've done it over the 3 or 2 sessions, that too, if you could just let us know. So we're going to head off to Learn, and we're going to show you about, you're going to create a profile. There are 2 modules that you have to do. Then you have to link your Learn profile into a new profile on Microsoft Elevate. There is a wonderful course pathway module that is Microsoft Teams for Education. It shows you what we've sort of shown you and more. And it works towards the General Explorer pathway, which then has PowerPoint and forms in it. So it covers all 3 that we've done over the 3 afternoons. So we really encourage you to do that. So those people who haven't been to Learn before, sorry, I just need to get the right screen to pop up now. So the Learn Pro is a website. So this is Microsoft's platform for all learning. It's all their courses, whether you're a teacher or a AI engineer or anybody, this is where you would go. So if you went to the training, there's lots, and you're basically welcome to do any of it. It's free. It's no cost at all. You log it on. This is where the Elevate Educator Explorer AI is the pathway that we're doing. And a pathway simply means that it has 2 modules. And if you look here, what we're trying to achieve is that the XP or experience points, those of us who game, goes green at the top. We have all modules passed, and both of the modules have got green. And if I click on the overview, it's got ticks next to each page. That's what we're going to do. At the top, it tells you 56 minutes. We're going to do it in 20 if you follow along. So I'm going to open it in incognito window just because that's more what yours would look like. Please note, you have to sign in. If you do not sign in, the information that you and doing it doesn't get accredited to your name. So as you can see, this is the full website. It's got all the technical, non-technical educator trainings. There's a lot that you can explore. So here's the same pathway. I'm not signed in here, just so you could see what yours would look like. When you sign in and create an account, please just be aware you are supposed to use what they call your legal name. Nobody's going to check, but what I can tell you, between the two places you need profile, if your name, for example, is Timothy, please use either Timothy in both places or Tim in both places, because ultimately your names have to match. The Americans, because you get certificates and it's accredited to your name, they recommend you use what they refer to as your legal name. In other words, your name that you can prove is you, so that you can say the training was you. So yours will not be green at the beginning. It will have a start button. Each module would have a start button. So we can click on the first main start button. These modules don't disappear if you've done them before. So I'm going to show you. So if at the end you want to go back and read through more, two ways to change pages, or in other words, of the module. We're trying to get the XP to go green. So you could see it opened. So I could go to the bottom and say next. If I have done this before, you do not get a next and previous button. Then the way to change pages is to click here, and it tells you that the next page is going to be 6 minutes. There are, in these two courses, there are 2 videos in each. The videos only take 1 minute, just over 1 minute. We're going to just watch the first video. This is based on a lot of it to do AI and the responsible use of AI, which is, as a teacher, what we should all be exploring as AI becomes more and more integrated in everything that we do. And I did switch the sound on this time.
If you had 3 minutes before a message goes out to families, what is the one check you would not skip? When AI shows up at school, it usually shows up in ordinary places: draft messages, meeting notes, quick plans. The risk isn't that the output exists. The risk is that it quietly
The
replaces the
volume's
human
very,
work
very
that should stay
soft.
human.
Okay, let me
Free
just
and
try fix that.
The link that we're on at the moment is the Explorer AI path, the 2 modules. So link number 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, Mr. V,
Yeah.
mine is all turned up loud, so I'm
Okay.
not sure why it is soft. So, and this is also why we're doing it, because it talks about posting messages and emails.
Yes.
So let me push
Let's
play,
just
and
try again. Yeah.
I'll just go back a tiny little bit.
Exists. The risk is that it quietly replaces the human work that should stay human.
Still very soft, but it's
3
okay. I'll just
integrity
keep
norms
quiet.
help keep responsibility visible: verification, privacy, and transparency. Here's what each looks like when time is tight. First, verification. You don't need to verify everything. You need to verify what matters most. Highlight the highest impact claim, sample the original source, and if you can't confirm it fast, remove it. Second, privacy. Before anything goes into a tool, remove identifying details: student names, family information, health details, anything that could harm trust if exposed. And if it's high sensitivity, it may not belong in an AI tool at all. Third, transparency. Don't just label something AI generated. Explain what the system did and what you decided. One sentence is enough. The system drafted a starting version, and I reviewed it for accuracy and fit. These norms are not a perfect policy document. They're small, repeatable actions. Use this coaching question with a colleague. What did you verify? What did you protect? And what did you decide? This week, choose one norm to practice: verification, privacy, or transparency, and try it in the scenario check and workbook prompt.
So they are very, as you can see, these are brand new videos. They were made this year. We can highly recommend, and we've been doing Learn courses for a long time, that one thing Microsoft's very good at is educating and making it valid to teachers and keeping up to date. So you keep going. So that's Learn It 3. This is what they were talking about. Say it precisely. You can come back and read if you're interested in doing this. There's more about verification, privacy, and transparency, and applying your AI judgment. And then right at the end, you need to take a little assessment, which is just a multiple choice. This happens to have 3 questions. Mr. V, how's your knowledge today?
I think my knowledge should be pretty good. Let's give it a go. Right. A colleague claims that AI decided this is the best strategy, so we should use it. What is the best response? Great. The AI already checked it, so we can just move on. Let's treat this as a suggestion. What evidence supports it, and what do we need to verify before we decide? AI is basically thinking now, so it's probably right. And we should never use AI for anything in school. So I don't like the last option. I definitely don't like the second to last option. The first one I think is a little bit silly because I think if you're not verifying things, so for me, it would definitely be option number 2. Okay, next one. A teacher uses an AI system to summarize students' reflections after a sensitive classroom discussion. The output is organized and confident, but you're unsure whether it accurately reflects the student's intent. Which response best reflects the responsible educator's judgment? Accept the summary because it is well written and saves time. Ask the AI system to double check itself and accept the new summary. Compare the summary to a small sample of the original reflections and remove identifying information before using it. Sounds like the most logical option. And we're definitely not just going to stop using AI entirely. Right, okay, question number 3. An administrator receives AI drafted message explaining a new school expectation. The message is clear, but it includes a claim about research showing improved outcomes without naming the source. What is the best next step? So send it because families prefer short messages. Keep the claim, but add AI generated at the bottom. Rather, remove the research claims unless it can be verified and revise the message to reflect local content. Context is always key. Should we submit?
Okay, so when you do these, there's no part of, if you get it wrong, it doesn't matter. There's a retake button. You do have to get over 80%. So when there's fewer questions, you have to get them all right. Well done, Mr. V. You got them all right.
Thank you.
There is no, that we know of, there is no restriction on the number of times. It might eventually say, no, come back tomorrow. We know teachers who sit and write it down. We also can suggest an elbow buddy, the person that you sit with at break and drink coffee or tea with, in a next department or staff meeting. Do it together, just like Mr. V and I. Read out the questions, divide up who has to watch what, and do some of the courses. And we know you're interested in PD because you're in here this afternoon. It is important you click on summary to get to the last unit, and it goes green. And important you click on complete the module. It will pop up, great work, you've earned your badge. And you see, because I'm not signed in, it says sign in and create the profile. I happen to know that this one goes to the right place, but sometimes they don't. So
Yeah.
just for the yellow brick road, it's often better to just click back onto the pathway that you're trying to do. This is from the chat. So we're trying to go to the Explorer AI pathway and get it to open. It's going to open in my name because it's not going to go to the incognito. And I just want to show you. So if I go into this second one, you see I don't get a next option, but I
Because
do
we've
get a
completed it.
retake the module assessment option at the bottom. So I
And often
can,
I find that, like what Ms. Crichton is doing there, she's got two tabs open. I often keep the one tab just on the page that we're working on, and then I use the other tab. So I often open the next thing in a new tab so that I can navigate it correctly. Because sometimes when you click next, it doesn't always take you to the right place, or when you click the next pathway, it often shifts it. So I always just keep the original one there.
and the way to do that, which is the wrong one, is to use control when you click on something. Because if I go to, if I click on control and click on there, then it opens it in a new window. So there I'm back at the beginning. So I'm building a reflective practice. Once again, click on start, wait for it to go green, click on next, click on the next page. It's a 1-minute video.
A teacher, a coach, and a principal walk into a school copy room. It's not the setup to a joke. Let's learn how others can help us see both the value and the risk of AI at the same time.
This AI tool will save me hours by drafting feedback comments to use with my students.
Hold on there. It might save you time, but will students still learn from the AI feedback, or will they only skim it?
Interesting. It could improve consistency. But what data is being shared with it about the students? And who is accountable for data security?
In schools, value and risk are often both true. The goal is to name them clearly, then choose safeguards that keep responsibility visible. When you can say, here is the value we want, here is the risk we must manage, and here is the safeguard we will use, you build decisions that people can trust.
So the biggest thing is about learning to reflect on what you're doing. And as teachers, we should be reflecting on more than just using AI. But this module is all about using reflection on AI decisions to learn from them. So I can click next at the bottom, or I could change the pages at the top to make sure that they all go green and I get the XP points. And obviously, if we share our learning with a colleague or a professional, that will also benefit, and we can all learn from each other. So this one has 4 questions, but the questions are the last 3 only have 2 options. Mr. V, how's your reflection practice?
Right. Okay. Which is the most effective response in this scenario? The teacher uses AI to draft feedback, comments. Students improved on one assignment, but later relied on surface edits and stopped explaining their reasoning. So option 1 is stop using AI immediately since students are getting worse at revising. The document what happened, then add a student reflection step that requires students to explain what changed and why before the revision counts. Ask the AI system to rewrite the feedback in a stricter, more demanding tone, or we should never use AI or anything in school. So I think it's definitely going to be the review process, which will mean document what happened. Right, number 2, a school administrator uses AI to draft a weekly family. Oh, Ms. Crichton, you've gone down too far. A school administrator uses AI to draft weekly family communications summarizing upcoming events and school updates. One family replied that the list date was wrong. The administrator corrected it immediately, but wants to improve the process. What should what I verified or protect entry say? 1, I reviewed the message before sending it and it looks fine. Or 2, verified all dates against the school's calendar, confirm event names, and confirm no students' identities were included. Check the one factual claim in the message before sending. I'd say that that's the best practice. Right, a school administrator used AI to draft weekly family communications summarizing upcoming events and school updates. One family replied that the listed date was wrong. The administrator corrected it immediately, but wants to improve the process. What should the outcome I noticed entry say? So I definitely don't think there was one mistake in the message and otherwise it was fine. So I think it's going to be option number 1. Families generally respond positively to clear format. Okay. And then our last question is, a school administrator uses AI to draft weekly family communications summarizing upcoming events and school updates. One family replied that the listed date was wrong. The administrator corrected it immediately, but wants to improve the process. What should the one adjustment I will test entry say? So I don't think it stopped using AI, which means it would have to be add a 2-step verification checklist.
So let's submit. Well done,
Yay!
you got 100%. Click next for the summary. Make sure you go to the last one, Unit 707, complete the module, make sure you have this, and then I'm going to just pop over to my profile. So now it would ultimately have everything is gone green, and if you tick it, the way to check, which is what you need for the next step, is you click on yours will probably have initials because you've just created it. Mine has my image. I click on profile. The URL or the address should therefore have your name in it. learn.microsoft.com, EMUS for English US, users, and then your name. I'm going to copy that by highlighting it. If I go to achievements, and I go to, you would have 2 badges here. And if you go to learning paths, you would now have your Educator Explorer AI trophy and all modules passed. Then the step, and we're going to run 2 minutes over time. So I'm going to whiz through this. Sorry about that. Is that you go to the Elevate Educators this URL. You have to say get started because you have to sign up. Remember, this is where your first name and surname must match. You put in your school name and your email addresses. Please, it is better to use your personal email addresses and use your school email addresses as secondary. Even Microsoft advised that because it's your professional development. You sign in. Once or if you come back, you've signed in. Once you created your account, it's going to pop up with create a learn account. And do you have it? You say yes. You say next. And then that URL with your profile name in it, we're going to paste it here. When you click next, it's going to check that it's connected, the names are the same, and because you've already done the badge, it's going to say congratulations, and because you've done the pathway, and it's going to then via Credly, you're going to, sometimes it takes an hour or so, it's going to send you an email where you can then go claim your badge in Credly, which is an online badging system, and you can put it in your signature. And we do hope that you've done that. And that was like a whiz thing through. We just hope you have learned that. We hope that during this coming week, you at least create a template, turn on one rule, create a channel or a team, and post an announcement. And then
Maybe even use a loop.
Even use a loop. And before we say goodbye, because we're we're a minute over, but we are more than happy to answer any questions. Pop any feedback in the chat. Let us know. Connect with us on LinkedIn. I don't know if there are any questions about the badge system. Please give us a star or an emoji if you manage to do it, or at least we'll finish doing the pathway in the next couple of days. The next step opens in November, and ultimately you can earn vouchers to do those MOS exams like me. And there is an Outlook, and there isn't a Teams one, but there is an Outlook exam. Mr. B, any questions, comments?
No questions, but we'd really love to see you guys filling out the chat with some stars. If you managed to do your badge today with us, or yesterday, or last week, if you completed one of the trainings with us and were able to do your badge, we'd just love to know how many people were able to follow along and complete that process. I think Microsoft is really excited to know when teachers are using their tools and their pathways. So that's really great for us.
And I do recommend the Teams for Education pathway and module. It's just one module because it tells you a lot, especially about assignments and the AI. Oh, well done.
Wonderful. Thank you, Hester. That's great.
Well done. On your business card. Yep. So we love hearing stories like that. And we hope, Hester, that you will then take the next step, which is applying to be a Microsoft Elevate Educator Expert. The window that closed at the end of July, there is supposed to be one that opens again in November. Those people who applied in July would find out in September. But otherwise, when you feel comfortable, it's more just a few more pathways and modules, and filling in a form, which basically you say how you use one of the AI tools. No other comments or questions in the chat. I'm just having a quick look-see. Thank you for those people who need to go. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you learned something new. Oh, well done, Rabbit. Yes, I love learning, and there's lots of wonderful courses. So
Nice.
thank
Yeah,
you
that's
so
always the
much
best.
for joining us. We hope that you learned something you can try, some trick, some tip that you can try in Outlook or Teams in the coming week. Please let us know what you thought via your district. And obviously, if you want more training, your district, people can organize that. And I don't see any questions, but
No,
we're around
looks like
for
we're
at least
good.
a minute or two. So you're welcome to leave or pop a question in the chat. We know everybody is busy as school teachers, so thank you for joining us. Thank you, everybody, and we hope you have a lovely evening.
Thanks. It's 5 minutes past. I haven't seen any questions. If you would like to ask us anything, you're more than welcome to reach out to us on LinkedIn. But other than that, I think we're done for today.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.